All right, party people. It is Metro Malik of Lansing Made, and I'm here with my friend Ariniko. Took me probably many years to figure out how to pronounce that, and we were friends and colleagues and had family interactions before I said, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
That's tough one, yes.
Ariniko, you had this interesting project that you took upon yourself to complete, but before we talk about that, let's kind of lead up to how you got there. Tell the people a little bit of like your history, like maybe where you went to school, high school, that kind of leads to how you came to this project.
All right.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Lansing. Was 1969, my birth year. Went through all the public schools. I went to Geyer Park, Otto, Eastern. My father-in-law taught at Otto, so we have a strong connection on the north side. The time that I started the project, I came up with the idea in about 2009. If people remember, Lansing was going through some hardships, some tumultuous times with the Great Recession. The automotive industry was having a hard time. The housing bubble hit at that time. So there's all these things happening that was making it look pretty devastating for Lansing. There was lots of uncertainty about the future of where Lansing could go or where it was going, and so that's kind of where the ball started to roll.
So what made you think about, hey, I'm just going to get up and start walking?
You know, it's funny because it ended up being a walking project, but that wasn't my thought. You know, when I started doing it, I was being pulled into walking groups, and I'm like, I'm not a walker. I'm just, showing you what Lansing is. I was showing Lansing. I wasn't walking, but I was walking. What happened was I had on one side this group of people, GM employees, family members, who were hit hard by Lansing, by all the automotive industry collapsing. And they had the attitude that Lansing was bad. It stunk, crime was on the rise, jobs were leaving, houses were going to foreclosure. There were 3,000 foreclosures, 30,000 foreclosures at that time. I might have that number wrong. A lot of foreclosures happening. And on the other hand, I was getting involved with groups. My husband, through my husband's work and contacts, they were promoting film festivals and networking events and entrepreneurial ideas and incubators, business incubators, and they were energized. They had an energy that I just had never seen before. And so I had these two contradictory ideas of what was really happening in Lansing. And I thought that there needed to be a way for people to see all these exciting things that were really happening.
So it's easy to get caught up into your box, your world, what you see, what you're directly connected with, whether it be negative or positive. And so you had an interesting place where you were basically in the middle of the dichotomy.
Exactly.
And so that turned into this idea of like, all right, this is here and it exists.
Mm-hmm.
And you acknowledge that fully. Mm-hmm. However, there's a side that some people are missing.
Right.
And that's what we get the advantage of, that you started the, I want you to say the name. What is the name of the project?
The City Saunter Project.
Yes. So that is your title, that's your name.
Yes.
And then that started as a blog.
It was. It started out as the blog, but what I was seeing was I felt that I was a cheerleader for Lansing. I was one of those people who was out there, Lansing's great, and people would look at me like, what are you talking about? And I felt like I was promoting Old Town and downtown and areas I was familiar with, but I knew that if I wanted to be a true champion of the city, I had to know the city. I had to know what was going on on the south side and share that. I had to find parks and groups that were doing things, amazing things that I wasn't even aware of until I started getting into those areas.
So then 10 years later, you find yourself in a situation where you have this beautiful cornucopia of information that is what Lansing is. Mm-hmm. And you're like, let's turn this into a book. And that's what excites me. I don't know how many years I've known you, because that's the way my mind works. It's very fuzzy.
It's in the book.
Am I in the book? This is news to me. I don't know. But what I did know was that I liked the idea. And even in the beginning, partly because I didn't know how to pronounce your name, I couldn't come up to you and say, Ariniko, I hope you turn this into a book. Because this is a book. And this is what you've been able to do is explore. And you walked a lot of miles. How many miles?
537.
The idea is you don't have to walk the 537 miles to venture. You could sit in the comfort of your chair, drinking your favorite beverage, if you order this book.
It's true.
Right? However, the encouragement is to, you've already done the legwork.
I did.
Pun intended.
Literally, yeah.
You've already done the legwork. Get up and explore. Get this book. Get the book. And then get up and explore. You can go directly there, right?
Right.
What's the name of the park? This isn't a test, but the name of the park?
Theo Fulton.
Theo Fulton Park.
Yeah.
Is a park in a neighborhood off, I can't remember, but...
Seaway Drive.
Seaway Drive, all right? So it's this little pocket of Lansing that dead ends into the Grand River.
Yeah, that's in my book, too.
And so I'm looking at that, and I'm like, my kid would love that. If I could take 2 or 3 of my kids there, and they can have some time, and then, you know, burn off that energy. My oldest gets to fish a little bit. My youngest gets to run, you know, because that's all he does is run. And then the little one can do cartwheels and backflips in the grass or something like that. Like, and I would not have known about that park, but that is all-encompassing, and it would be perfect for my family dynamic as it is now.
Right.
So what would be... We talked about the things that you've done, but what would you say to someone that is watching this and saying why they should belong or support the Kickstarter project that you have right now?
Right. I think that there's 2 camps. There's one camp where you feel like you know everything about Lansing, so you can feel sort of included. Like, this is our story. We're telling our Lansing to other people. So I think there's that part. And even if you've been born and raised in Lansing, I still think that you would find value in it because you would feel that shared experience. You know, I start the story before I was born with my grandparents living in Lansing. So it's very long, and then I go into being born here, raised here, some backstories that I kind of anecdotally get into.
Somehow she met me, I don't know.
I did. Earth Day. Laugh with a purpose.
Oh, oh yeah.
Yeah, long time ago.
That was,
but it's all
was
connected.
That in the Temple Club?
It was Temple Club. Yeah.
Oh, that was so nervous that day.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a basket case that day.
Yeah. But that's the glory of this, is that a story that kind of tinged in the 1970s can follow through decades after and still be relevant today.
Oh.
And then you got the people who aren't from Lansing or maybe have left. One of my beta readers had moved away from the Lansing area, and he loved the book. He just was like, this is what we are. This is what you've got growing there. And it's, to me, it just seems like anybody can get something out of the book. Either you like the history, you like the anecdotes, you like the support system, learning about all the nonprofits. One of my other beta readers, she said she was astounded to learn about all these nonprofits, because that was one of my ways that I got out into neighborhoods I wasn't familiar with, was piggybacking my walks with nonprofits. So I walked with the Peace Group, PEACE. We'll have to go back and find what
Read the book.
Yeah, it's in the book. Lunch with a Purpose. You know, it's not active right now, but the people who were part of that still are very active. With T.J. Duckett and Justin Kane, they're both actively doing nonprofit work with New World Flood and Battlefield Brawl.
Yes.
Those are all things that are still functioning.
Yeah.
So even though Lunch with a Purpose isn't, but that one, every Thursday I coordinated a walk with what we were doing with that group.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
they have their own dedicated chapter. So.
All right, so obviously it's on the screen. Tell them how to get, how to get in contact.
We might have to add that as a link too. It's a City Saunter Kickstarter campaign. So if you go to Kickstarter and search City Saunter, it will be on there. We'll put the link on too, so that you can just hit the link.
Awesome! I'm so excited that you did this.
Oh, I'm excited that you're excited.
Well, it's such a cool thing, and it was one of those things where, like, I had never thought of it, but I was watching you kind of from afar going through the process. I'm like, that sounds like something I would do. Never came up with it, but it sounds like, not saying that, it's not my ego that I'm saying this, I'm just saying that's a cool thing. And it was parallel to how Lansing Made started, and we had talked about that.
Yes.
It's not important for this, call out at this point in time, but I highly encourage you to participate in this Kickstarter campaign and just find a way to explore what we already love.
Yep. Yeah, it's great.
All right. Cool.
Lansing Made.
Lansing Made.
Lansing Made.